we are filmmakers, and a big part of filmmaking, especially when you're first starting out, is figuring out what gear you need to get the results that you want out of your film, and most importantly, what gear is right for you. And this gear that we're talking about today has saved me time, money, and has made me more efficient as a filmmaker. First piece of gear that I want to talk about is something that we all use as filmmakers and something that we use almost every single day, and that is a tripod. And here's the funny thing about a tripod. We don't know that we actually need to invest in a good tripod until it's too late. I have purchased many tripods in the past, and every time I buy one, and I think this is gonna be good enough. But every single time that I have bought one, it's been a situation where it either breaks or you give it a little tap and the camera falls over, or they're just extremely heavy or a pain in the ass to work with. So finally, I said, enough is enough, and I went out and got myself a really good tripod. And I needed it to check all the boxes, you know what I mean? Like, I needed it to be lightweight, I needed it to be practical, and I needed it to be sturdy. And when I found the SmallRig FreeBlazer carbon fiber tripod, I was like, finally, this is it. This is my tripod. There's a few features on this tripod that I particularly love. The quick release plate is awesome. All you have to do is put the plate in the middle of the head and it just snaps right in place. And you can quickly tighten it just by using this knob right here. The tripod also has a 1-key lock system, which for me I like because you can quickly adjust the height of the tripod. A lot of the times I'm by myself, and when you're by yourself and you're trying to do 2 layers of locks on a tripod, sometimes that could get really annoying and just be impractical. But this particular tripod, you just have 3 locks on it. You lift the tripod up, you lock them in, and it's extremely easy to use. One person can easily do this. Now, the locks are plastic, however, they do feel sturdy, and they take a little bit of force to like unlock them and lock them back in. So I'm not really worried that they're gonna come unlocked easily, or like you're gonna hit something or someone's gonna bump into them and the whole thing's gonna come unlocked. You do have to put some force into these, which is good. And the tripod also comes with a center spreader that has adjustable knobs, so you can quickly adjust the width of the tripod legs, which is very good if you're like in tight situations or you're in a situation where you need them to just go out a little bit further. You're able to quickly achieve this with the center spread. The fluid head is beautiful. It's nice and smooth, exactly what you want in a tripod. You could adjust the tension on the tripod head so you can get and dial in exactly the kind of tension that you want, and it makes getting smooth panning shots super simple. For a price of $399, I feel like this tripod is a great bang for your buck, especially if you're looking to buy your first tripod. And if you guys want to buy any of this gear, don't worry, because I'm going to leave all the links in the description down below. The next piece of gear has quickly become one of my favorite pieces of gear that I own, and I really do wish I bought this thing sooner, because this has unlocked a whole door of creative possibilities for me in my filmmaking. And the gear that I'm talking about is this Nanlite Projector Mount. Basically, this is a light modifier that allows you to shape your light into a spotlight, but it also has these blades that allow you to quickly shape the light into whatever you could possibly think of. And if you pair this with a haze machine, you can get some really awesome and interesting lighting setups. I actually used this in one of my short documentaries, and I was blown away by how quickly you could just add some flair to your cinematography. And honestly, it was just a ton of fun experimenting and using this thing. And that's another thing about gear, right? Like, you want to be able to solve something and you want to be able to have it be practical and logical, but sometimes having something that just allows you to have fun gets you kind of in that creative state a little bit faster. And that's what I've found with this Nanlite Projector Mount, is that like it gets me excited to do a lighting setup, or it gets me excited to shoot something because I could think about it in a different way and achieve all these really interesting different results by using this thing. So definitely a piece of gear that I would recommend, and definitely something that I wish I bought sooner. Recently, I shot a UFC promo for a fighter, and I was looking for this kind of flickering bulb effect, or like a flickering bulb in my shot as like a practical light. And I quickly started looking for something that could do this, and I came across the Aperture B7C light bulb. And as soon as I bought this thing, I was like, man, I cannot believe I don't own like 10 of these. And on top of it, like, what the hell took me so long to buy this? The Aperture B7C light bulb is absolutely amazing, and you can buy it right now for only $56 on Amazon. And what I love about this is that you can connect it to Sidus Link, and you can control the color, the intensity, pretty much everything that you could think of. You could even add effects like this flickering light bulb effect, And it's just extremely useful, especially for documentary filmmaking, because if you're trying to shoot an interview in somebody's house and maybe there's a practical light or a lamp that you want to use in your shot, 9 times out of 10, the light that's in that fixture is not a good quality light. And it's either going to do one of two things. Either A, not be bright enough or not be dark enough, or B, the color is going to be off. It's not going to match like the lights that you're shooting with, whether it be tungsten or your daylight lights that you're trying to shoot with. So the ability to throw this in a lighting fixture or a lamp really quickly and be able to kind of control the lighting and the look of that particular light is extremely useful. I definitely recommend getting this B7C light bulb. You definitely got my stamp of approval. Again, I'm going to leave the link in the description down below. So if you guys want to buy that, check that out. Now that we're on the subject of lights, one thing that I suggest to any filmmaker, and I'm not going to specifically talk about any brand of lights, but I really do suggest getting a light that has some firepower to it. Like, get yourself a really strong light. And the reason being is because there's so many different situations where you're either in a really bright room that you're kind of fighting with the sun, and something like the Aperture 120D, while it's a great light and it served me well for years, I quickly outgrew it because I would be in lighting situations where I'm battling with the sun. And the only way to battle with the sun is by getting yourself a really, really powerful light. So if you want to light an exterior shot, or you want to light even an interior, but you're battling with that, midday sunlight, you need to have yourself a really strong, powerful light that you can rely on. And trust me, I have bought cheap lights in the past thinking if I can get a pack of 3 of them, that's all I'll need and I'll be able to light any situation that I have. And I was an idiot. I have to be honest. That was a really dumb thing to think of. I really do wish that I would have just saved my money and bought one really strong, powerful light, something like an Aperture 300D. Every filmmaker, when they first start out, they think about the camera and the lenses. But the thing that really gets to shape your cinematography more than anything is lighting. And if you don't have any lights, sure, you can use windows, or you could go outside and use like golden hour or like blue hour, and those are great times to shoot. But you're at the mercy of the sun, and you're at the mercy of, whatever room that you go into and whatever lights they have available for you. Take some time, think about buying yourself at least one good light. The next item on this list goes hand in hand with your light, and that is a really good C-stand. And just like everything else on this list, I have tried to save money by buying cheap C-stands that have literally broken down or broken on set, or have just made my life really hard when I'm trying to rig lights up. Just do yourself a favor. Instead of buying 5 cheap light stands that end up in the garbage, buy yourself 1 or 2 really good C-stands. It's gonna help rig your lights up. It's gonna help hold up really expensive gear that you have, and it's gonna keep that gear safe. It's gonna keep your talent safe. It's gonna keep your crew safe. The last thing that you want is your C-stand to fall on somebody or your C-stand to break in the middle of your set. You need to make sure that you get yourself at least 1 or 2 really good C-stands to rig up your lights, to rig up your gear, and to just make sure that you're kind of investing in equipment that's going to be good not only for now, but 5 years from now, 6 years from now. Those are good long-term investments that you can make, and they don't break down. Some of the ones that I have bought that have lasted me for years have been Matthew C-stands. I highly suggest getting some of those, or at least try to get something of that quality, especially if you're a cinematographer. I think a cinematographer needs to have a couple of really good C-stands. And just like with anything else, I'm gonna leave links to those C-stands down in the description below. And of course, there are other C-stands that are really great, but those are just the ones that I have had experience with, and a good experience with is the Matthew C-stands. One thing I definitely didn't think about when I first started my career was, how am I gonna power my set? How am I gonna get power to all my batteries, to my lights, chargers, to my camera? And I'm not even kidding you guys. I have shown up to set before. It was my first few times. I have my little production company, and I show up on set, and I don't have any extension cords and I don't have any power strips. So I'm using whatever's available, like the wall outlets, and I'm trying to, I got my batteries in one corner of the house, and I got my lights plugged into a wall and like I'm forced to have my subject do an interview right next to a wall. It was just like so stupid. It was so dumb. But I'm glad that I made that mistake, because after I did that, I made sure that I had more than enough extension cords. I never wanted to have that restriction again. So I went out and made sure that I got that. So please do me a favor and learn from this mistake and get yourself what they call on a film set some stingers. And that is extension cords and some power strips. If I were you guys, the way I would think of it is any light that I have or any light that I plan on using on set, I would make sure that I have at least one extension cord for every single light that I have and double the outlets that I need. So if I think that I'm going to need 10 outlets, I would make sure that I have 20 outlets, which is about 2 or 3 power strips. Take stock of the gear that you have and make sure that you have the corresponding power. That way when you go on set, you're not running into the same problem that I ran into. The first few months of my career, I really thought that I was going to be able to get away with using my on-camera monitor. I was using a Sony a7S II, which was like a little screen like this big, like the tiniest little screen. I would shoot all day on that thing, and then I would get back home and yeah, half my footage would be out of focus, or the framing wouldn't be right, or just something was off, like it just didn't look good. So I would highly suggest that if you're just starting out, get yourself even just a little 5-inch monitor that you could put on top of your camera, just so you have a little bit bigger of a viewing space to see your full frame. And with a little monitor, you can nail focus, you could check your frame, make sure nothing crazy is going on in there. If you blew up this image, what would it look like? You know what I mean? Like, how is your composition looking? You can't do any of that by checking it on a little tiny DSLR screen this big. And when I got my first monitor, I noticed that I was nailing my focus a lot better. And then also my composition got better because I was able to see the full frame of the shot in a pretty good view, you know what I mean? So I personally think that anything that could make your footage look better, you should definitely go out and invest in. And I strongly suggest getting a camera monitor. Have a better view of your shot, and that is just so important. There's a couple of really great camera monitors out there. SmallRig is probably one of the best as far as like quality goes, but it's by far the most expensive. Atomos is pretty good. It's a pretty good bang for your buck. And then you also have FeelWorld. FeelWorld has some really great monitors. It's what I'm using right now. They have like a 7-inch monitor for like $350 or $400, which is great, man. Like I really think like bang for your buck, FeelWorld is some of the best monitors out there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. My name's Zarfati, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.